be the most important tool video that I do out of all these videos going into the future. I guarantee it, and we're rolling on the third one. Today I'm going to discuss the least discussed tool in this business to make money, which is your brain. And this came up after some little, exchange on some user group on Facebook where this person was going, I wouldn't bring my car to a shop where the mechanic was using these tools to do this job. Like kind of to make a little glib, kick or poke fun at the fact that I choose not to spend $500 or $600 on tools to bend the corners out of iPads. And I'm thinking to myself, like, this person saying you're gonna scratch it, I don't want to get scratches and dings all over it. Let me tell you how. Because I use my brain, I save hundreds of dollars, and I don't scratch the devices. So one of the things I was suggesting is that when the corner is completely banged and dented to shit, that you can use something like needle nose pliers in order to bend it back out. Now, most people say, well, isn't that going to leave a big nasty mark? You can keep it from leaving a nasty mark. You can take styrofoam out of the garbage. I mean those packing pellets that you get from Newegg and anything like that. And you could take a little piece, and you could take 2 or 3 pieces, fold it up, put it together, and then use your needle nose pliers. And there are people commenting saying, like, I don't want to waste 20 minutes doing that when I can just buy this tool. And I'm thinking, like, I did a video where I bent the corners out of a broken iPhone 5 in 9 seconds. Like, if it takes you 20 minutes to do that, when it takes me 9 seconds, that is sad. Like, that is just truly that is sad. That is sad. But I digress. If you use your brain, you will find solutions where there otherwise are not solutions, and you won't have to spend money on tools that you don't need. And and one of the silly parts of the argument here is that the tool to bend the corners out of the device is actually worth more than the device. One of the things that I was bringing up is that when you look on Craigslist, seriously, I see fucking 64 gigabyte iPod 4, 64 gigs in decent condition for like 50 to 70 bucks. I am not spending more than 20 minutes fixing that device. I am not spending more on $5 on tools dedicated to that device because it's old shit. And again, if you use your brain a little bit, you will come up with solutions that don't require you spending lots of money. They make jumper wire for motherboards, for example, it's kind of costly, and it's for digital signals and rework of digital systems and blah, 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 and you're spending a ridiculous amount of money on these little spools. Let me show you the type of wire that I use when I'm fixing boards. See this? This is an LVDS cable from an A1150 MacBook Pro. This is free, and in any laptop repair shop worth a shit, you probably have some old computer that has a video cable in it, and you take this thing out. You have this wire, this is lower gauge wire for when you are carrying a higher power, a higher current or higher voltage signal, and when you just want to have one pin of ISL 6259 go to a resistor when that pad is burnt off, when you want one pin of an inductor to go to a pin of the LVDS connector when the pad burns off, you can just scrape the insulation off and grab a single strand. And again, this is free. This is fucking free. Don't spend money on shit when the free solution is right in front of you. Another thing, people talk about what bench power supply should I buy, or you need a lab power supply to get involved in testing my phone motherboards or finding shorts in the laptop motherboards. No, you fucking don't. Again, use your brain. What do you have in a computer repair shop more abundantly than anything else? Computers. What do computers have in them? Computers have power supplies in them. So let's think about what these power supplies do. So you can set the power on the supply of this $300 or this $600 or this $1,000 benchtop power supply. Okay, so I can set 3 or 5 or 12 or 1 volts. Yippee! And it also goes up to 5 or 10 amps. Oh my god, that's what I need. And you'll see they have these like $50 ones that go up to like half an amp and things that are worthless. This thing right here. So let's see what we got. This is $79 on Tiger Direct. You can buy off-lease computers from Tiger Direct. This is a Core Duo machine. Not only can I still print shipping labels for this after spending damn near a year shorting the CPU, Northbridge, and other rails on this to ground off of many dead boards, but it also works as a power supply, and it costs $79. Not $300, not $600, not $1,000 like some of these elitist fucktards will tell you you need to get to start in the business. No, it's $79. Again, they're suggesting you spend a lot of money on a tool instead of using the tool that you already have, which is your brain, to figure out what you can already use that's right in front of you that does the same shit. Again, I'm not trying to power a complex integrated circuit that requires no ripple on the 1-volt rail. I am trying to find a short in a dead fucking motherboard. I don't care about the quality of it. And for all I know, this power supply is better quality anyway. So let's see what we got here. So here on this green wire, and again, I made sure to nicely and neatly tie them with electrical tape right over here so that all the wires wouldn't be a complete mess. That failed. Anyway. Yeah, let's get... Alrighty. So over here, the light green wire that I have is ground. This green wire is connected to either the Northbridge power supply or the CPU power supply. I think it's Northbridge. I don't even fucking remember. It's 1.7 volts right over there. Then if I want 3.3 volts, I get that on this blue and white wire. I get 5 volts off of this blue wire. And if I really want to just destroy a motherboard just for fun, I have 12 volts. All of this was taken from a broken Cat5 cable. So the wiring for the power supply was free. And when we upgraded the cashier to a new machine, this was literally free. And the whole idea here is you attach ground from this power supply to the ground of the motherboard. You then attach the 1.7 volts from here to the bus that is shorted to ground. So whatever component is shorting your bus to ground is going to be carrying all the power from this power supply there. It's going to get really hot and boil its way off the board. Now, another thing that people will commonly mention is, oh, well, how are you going to find it? You can't feel the shorts with your hands. A lot of the times it doesn't get hot. You won't notice it. You need to get a thermal imager. You need this 0.3 megapixel thermal imager that costs $6,000 or $4,000 fucking dollars for this thing. You can't do professional work without it. I love reading comments of like, if you really want to do professional work, if you want to be taken seriously, if you want to get into this for a living, you need a proper thermal imager at the very least if you don't get yourself an X-ray machine. Are you kidding me? You know what I use instead of a $4,000 thermal imager? You know what I use instead of a $50,000 X-ray machine? I use the side of my face, truly. Again, I can't feel the shorts with my hands. My hands, I go to the gym, I burn myself all day on solder, like, you know, I have these calluses over here, but my hands are, no. So I take the board after it's been on the desk for about a minute with the 1.7 volt rail. Again, I soldered a little wire on. Is it hot? It's a little. Then I'll put the 3.3 volt there. If it's a circuit where that bus, it can go up to 3.3 volts. So if I'm testing for shorts on a 3 volt circuit, I'm not going to plug 12 volts into it. I'll fuck up everything. But if I'm testing a 12 volt circuit, I don't mind going up to 3.3. And I'll put it to my face and I'll go, this spot is hot. Let me, oh, look at that. That component looks like shit. Let me take it off. And then I take it off, and now the short is gone, and I replace it, and everything works. Well, gee, look what I've done there. I saved myself $4,000 on a thermal imager. I saved myself $40,000 on an X-ray machine. I saved myself $300,000, $600,000, $1,000 on a bench power supply by using the tool that I got for free. My brain. And again, truly, in this business, what matters are the results that you offer to your customers and how quickly you're able to achieve them. It doesn't matter what tools you have. If somebody came in here and said, I want to know what wires you're using on my board, I want to see what tools you're going to be using to do this, the only acceptable answer, if they're being a condescending jackass about it, is to tell them they can suck my dick and send them to the next place that will charge them twice as much and do the same thing. That's the only acceptable answer. You want to talk about how I don't want to go to a mechanic that doesn't use the proper tools. I wouldn't go to them to do my bumper. You go to a mechanic and you ask him, hey, let me see the wrench you're using when you're taking off my hubcaps or doing this. He's going to take that wrench and hit you over the head with it. That's what any self-respecting mechanic with any sense of dignity who has a client base, who's not begging for money to buy bread, is going to do, because it's just ridiculous. The work speaks for itself. The results speak for itself. And I am sick and fucking tired of these people taking advantage of the fact that there are so many carpetbaggers coming to try to make quick money in this business, trying to sell them all these tools that you don't really need, trying to sell them a bill of goods that you need this, that you need that you're not a professional if you don't have this, that your clients will think you're more professional if you have this. It's just like it's the music industry all over again. Seriously, it's like these fucking control surfaces in the mid 2000s and early 2000s when people were really getting into digital audio workstations and they were moving away from using consoles for certain type of audio production. And these companies were coming out with this crap. Like, you know what I'm talking about. If you go to a studio and you see one of these $10,000 or $30,000 control surfaces, and 99% of the time, like 99% of the time, the engineer is going to tell you, yeah, like, I use this as a mouse. It's just here to impress clients. I hate that shit. Again, if you're one of those people that uses one of those control surfaces, if you use a DigiDesign icon and that thing changes your life, that's great. More power to you. I hope you make good money at it. I hope it makes your life easier. I hope it makes your session workflow faster. That's cool. But when I see people say, yeah, I bought this to attract clients. Yeah, I bought this because people like to see it there. That makes me sick. That makes me just want to throw up in my mouth when I hear people say it. And I don't want to see this industry turn into the same thing. I do not want this to become a business where people walk in the door and they say, oh, what type of G tool do you use in case there's a corner dinged in my phone? Oh, does your soldering station for replacing the graphics chip have a split vision system, or are you aligning it by hand? I do not want this business to turn into that shit. I do not. And you know how this starts? This starts with these tools that get promoted as things that you need that are going to make your life so much better. And if somebody asks me, let me see what type of thermal imaging you're using to find the short on my motherboard, I am taking their board like a fucking boomerang and throwing it at their face. This is ridiculous. This is crap. And again, I'm not saying that you shouldn't get good tools. And all these videos, I'm telling you, don't cheap out. Don't buy IOE rework. You know, don't buy IOE soldering stations. Don't buy these little solder suckers from Radio Shack and think that that's going to get you by long term. But I encourage you to buy good tools. But at the same time, I show you how you can get by without the good tools. At the same time, I show you how you can use a $10 soldering iron to solder an LVDS connector. And it sucks. It wasn't fun. It made me very, very miserable, and it took much longer than it should. But you can do it. I showed you how you can use that same $10 soldering iron to replace a 0402 package and even kind of make it look decent while it's there. And also how you can fix something in the process. You know, you can get by without having to spend money on all this crazy crap. And I want you to think really hard. Before you buy this stuff, have I used my brain to solve this problem? Because a lot of people, they fundamentally don't use their brain to solve a lot of these problems. And go back to the last video. People use dish soap and ultrasonic cleaners. You spend $1,000 on a cleaner, and then what? You're going out and buying fucking Palmolive and pouring it in there and bubbling and so no. That's not how you do it. Think a little bit before you do these things. If you want to succeed in this business, if you want to succeed in any business, you need to use the tool that you were given. You need to use the first tool that you were ever given that came for free, which is your brain. Because when you have a bank of information, when you think, when you compare and contrast and store information on why this works the way it does, why this thing doesn't work the way it does, how these systems operate, how I can get the work done that I need when I don't have the right tools, you have more value. You can go to another company that may not be set up perfectly and say, you know what? You don't have a perfect setup, but I can get all this work done that you don't know how to get done, and I can make you an extra $10,000 a month. And now you're valuable where somebody else isn't. This creates value. When you know how to do things other people don't know how to do, when you have a bank of information that you've learned through training your brain, through analytical thinking, through looking at situations and saying, this is the same thing that happened last time. Let me look and see if that's the same thing happening. Oh, it is the same thing happening again. Or, oh, this tool's not working the way it should be. Can I get away with using this? Oh, I can. So now I can make $300 today and saying, sorry, I can't help you. This is what's going to separate you from the guy down the block who does the same thing you do for $20 less. And this is how you're going to get ahead in the world. This is how you're going to get ahead in this business. This is how you're going to go ahead in life. Again, don't post comments saying, hi, Lewis, where do you get schematic from? Use fucking Google. Hit Control-K and Google the model of your board. Think. Use your brain. Don't rely on other people. Don't be reliant on tools to do the jobs for you that you should be doing yourself. Don't rely on gimmicks, and don't listen to people who are going to say, I wouldn't use that mechanic if they don't have the right tool to remove my bumper. Listen to results. The only thing that matters in the end is that the results that you get is an acceptable and quality result, and the only tool that matters, the only tool that is important, is the brain of the person doing the repair.